Hi. Hello. Oh, not sure if things are weird or not. Hold on. Hi. Hello. It's me, the local virtual baker, Saltea Kichee. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hello. Hold on. Wait. Ah, okay, there you go. Hi. Hi there, Salmon. Hello there. Hi, 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 hi. Hi there. Hi, Salmon, and hi, Eldritch. I see you two in there. Hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Alright, so I have a confession to make first of all. Before we start stream today, I have a confession to tell you all. A lie, a fallacy, something I've been holding back and telling you about. Not telling you about, if anything. I lied to you about today. Because although today we are going to be making bread, I kind of also have other plans to do, so I wanted to just kind of make today more of like a cooking sort of ordeal, but we'll be doing a lot of bread. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay, but yeah. Today we're gonna be making a country loaf. It's so what a country loaf is, for those that may or may not know, a country loaf is essentially like, it's essentially like a sourdough, except that you don't have starter. You use something that is technically called a poolish, and a poolish is like a very, I don't know how to explain it. A poolish is like a very simple way of making like a starter, like sourdough starter. If you don't really have the patience nor time to make a sourdough starter, and you don't feel like waiting a week to make a starter that you're probably gonna end up using for only one baking thing, that's fine. You know, I kind of understand it. Not everyone wants to put that kind of commitment into something, and it's like, oh, you know, I don't really like making sourdough, this and that. So like, I can understand how some people might not want to make sourdough because, oh man, I don't want to waste so much stuff just to get a little bit of something to work. So a country loaf, it's kind of that same ordeal. It's very simple to make. It's very easy to make because all you do is put in yeast, flour, and water. That's it. Poolish is essentially like some sort of free ferment that you can use that can be used further down the line, and you can make stuff bake better, and it adds more flavor, color, and texture, and all this hippity hoppity lippity stuff. But here, actually, let me see. I actually got a book about this one. Wait, I'm not good at explaining, but hold on, wait. I'm trying to remember where I put this book. Alright. Found it. Found the book. So, I myself am not good at explaining things. However, I have a book that can explain things. So, let me just find the right page that had something about it. Not glazing, raising, grazing, lazing, mixing, processing, mixing and kneading, percentages by weight. Oh, here you go. Here we go. Okay, so a poolish is made the same day or the day before the bread and is always fermented at room temperature to ensure the formation of milder flavors. It is usually made from equal parts flour and water by weight. It uses between 1/3 and 1/2 of the total water in the recipe, which is around 22 to 33% of the total amount of flour. The amount of yeast is added into a poolish decreases proportionately with the length of fermentation. If too much yeast is added for a long or not before a long overnight pre-ferment, the yeast will exhaust all the sugar in the flour. So, that's the formal book definition of the, this thing called the Bred Bible. Very great. I'm not too much of a religious person myself, but listen, this is the only Bible I will follow. The Bred Bible, this thing has taught me so much it has taught me so much thing and etiquette. And I've seen a bit of recipes, and like, a lot of this has really taught me like the ins and outs and like stuff of bread baking and such. But that's what a poolish is. Essentially what you use to make a... Essentially that's what a sourdough starter really is, if you really think about it. The thing about a sourdough starter is that it's fermented. So it's gonna constantly need to be monitored, you're gonna need to feed it, it's kind of a pet. It's kind of a thing of like how some people actually name their starters. At first, I never really understood like, hey, why did you name your starter? That sounds kind of weird. It's like, do you not have anything else better to do? Like, you're just gonna name your starter just like stupid and silly. But then I kind of realized that it is almost kind of like taking care for a pet. Like, you water it, you feed it, you take out half of it out, which I guess you could say it's picking up after its waste. And then you're using it for your own beneficial gain of self-pleasure, I guess. Because, you know, pets are great. We love pets. But we all love pets because they make us happy, yeah? Damn, I'm messing around. But, like, look, like, I love Jeffrey here. Look at him. Look at the guy. Definitely need to clean, like, the outside of his tank. The inside of his tank is spotless, but, like, I really do need to start cleaning the inside of that dang tank. Oh, speaking of which, I want to add a new, oh, I gotta find it. Not monetization, content, viewer rewards. I want to make a redeem. You know what, I'll make it later, but I'll let you know that I do want to make a redeem that's like feeding the fish, like, redeem 5,000 points and I feed my fish Jeffrey. Wow, feeding time. So, that's something I want to do, but will I do? Maybe later. I'm a little lazy with making redeems. Oh yeah, but I was I was explaining Bred, sourdough starter, poolish. A sourdough starter is a poolish. A poolish is like a quick and easy to make sourdough starter. You'll get the same benefits to a poolish for when you use a sourdough, so it's like very good. It's just good to use. It gives you that nice bubbly texture, that nice fermented outer crust that you really look for in like sourdough. And also, I guess as an added benefit is that when you actually do make a country loaf versus a sourdough starter, there's not going to be much flavor that's going to be very tart or like very sour. So it's going to be a very standard sort of flavor of bread. It's going to be like very, very just bread. It's just bread. There's nothing much to it. Like sourdough, I like it so much because there's like a nice fermented lactic flavor, and it's like so... It just adds a bit more. The tartness just kind of brings out more flavor from the flour itself, which is really strange to say out loud. But like, once you bake bread so many times, and then you kind of realize that white bread is kind of boring, and then next thing you know it, you actually start baking with... Not baking, but you start making sourdough instead of using commercial yeast. It's like, yeah, there's a very different flavor here, and I kind of like the sour fermented flavor. As another little small benefit too, sourdough is technically healthier than white bread. Especially if you just make a comparison of white bread versus sour starter. Because white bread usually has sugar and all that sort of such in it, but even if you took all the sugar out and you just did the same recipe with sourdough versus white bread, the sourdough is going to be inherently a lot more healthier, because to my knowledge, if I remember correctly, when you use sour starter and you ferment it and all that sort of wumbo jumbo, you actually end up it ends up actually eating a lot of the carbohydrates and gluten, and makes it, I guess, less calorie dense for carbohydrates, and also it makes it more, it's just on top of being just fermented, it's gonna be healthier for you overall to eat because it gives you vital nutrients and other sort of things that are good for your body and good, something that you should eat. Oh, and also you just get to eat bread, which is great. So, you know, you get to do all the things. You get a lovely bread, you get nutrients, it's healthier for you. There's not any added sugar, because a good sourdough needs only flour, water, and salt. I'm including a starter to be flour and water, because that's what starter really is. Flour and water, alright? If you add anything else, you're an absolute psychopath. Unless you're intentionally trying to make like a flavored sourdough, like if you're trying to make like this is a favorite one I like to do. Like I like making a tomato sourdough. Ooh, it's so good. That's nice, and it balances with the tartness. Because if you make a good marinara that's kind of sweet, it works well together. But it's not like sugar sweet. It's like a nice tomato, like fresh, fruity is weird to say, but fruity sweet. And also with the natural sourness from sour starter, it just adds a nice tartness, and it's like, ooh, it's so good. And also, it adds a slight bit of, I don't know what the word, it makes it a lot more softer actually, on top of it all. But it also makes it a lot more red, or I guess orange really. It adds a beautiful color to it. It adds a nice, beautiful color, and has great flavor, visuals. Maybe with the next week coming, maybe I'll do a sourdough stream and we'll make just every kind of sourdough. I know there's a cocoa powder sourdough, and I hear that's pretty good. Those are fairly more underground, but a cocoa sourdough starter, I've seen a whole few of those done at hotels. I've seen actually a few of them being sold at like Hershey Park, funny enough. So, sourdough with cocoa powder, that seems interesting. I kind of would try it. I definitely want to do like a more enriched sourdough, like a sourdough that has a little bit maybe like oil or butter or something into it. So maybe that, a tomato sourdough, because that's my favorite. Ooh. Tomato sourdough bread with making a grilled cheese from that kind of bread. Oh, that stuff is so stellar. It is delicious, it's so good, and it's like very thematic, if you will, but it tastes so good. It's so on point to like what it should have. It's very tomatoey, which sometimes I think with some grilled cheeses, they kind of like, yeah, they're great, but it needs that tomato aspect. But when you add the tomato into your bread, it just livens it all up. It just like, it gives you that extra bit of something that you really needed. So, but yeah, I haven't made a cocoa one. I've heard that there's also a good way to make a turmeric sourdough, like using turmeric powder. Or is it, no, it's turmeric. Yeah, it's turmeric is the orange stuff, right? Or is it yellow? Powdered turmeric. Oh, yeah. So this one I think makes your sourdough a little bit more yellow or orange. I don't exactly remember. I've been told about how it is pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I've personally never really made one. I don't know. I don't really use turmeric that much. Jeez, sorry. I don't really use turmeric that much, but I have heard like turmeric is a really good thing. I don't know how much exactly it would taste. I'm not actually sure what turmeric really exactly tastes like, but turmeric's pretty fun. I'm probably gonna bake with that eventually. If maybe I gotta go look into like a whole plethora of kinds of flavors for sourdough and such, so maybe. Hi Mahler, hello, welcome in. Hi Mahler, welcome. I'm just talking about bread right now. kind of just talking about bread before we actually get into the baking today. Just want to talk a bit, you know, I'm doing a bit of talking. It's a scary thing. Oh geez, I'm trying to yap, I'm trying to use my vocal cords and speak my mind. Absolutely wild, absolutely crazy, I understand. But yeah. That being said though, I think I've done enough of that. I think I've done enough talking. So I feel we should try to get into the kitchen, yes? Alright. Hold on, let me just Okie doke. Ignore. Hold on. I'm just trying to mess things around. Yeah. Okay, so as I have mentioned already, I do want to do a touch of... what is it? I do want to do a touch of other things as well. Because there was something I wanted to mention on yesterday's stream because it's really funny, but I didn't actually mention it at all. I've mentioned it on my Discord server, but I want to mention it, like, I guess live on stream because I think it's really, really funny. But the other day I kind of want to... From the other day I kind of just want to relax. It's kind of like a little stressful what happened, but now in hindsight it's probably the funniest thing that's happened at my job. But at my job there's this really, not to bash at them, but they're a little bit more on the well-aged side. He's difficult to work with. He's very difficult to work with. So I was trying to tell him stuff and such, and he doesn't really like someone else trying to be more having more authority over him, because God forbid you want to try to help them out or talk to them, they're going to assume that you're trying to attack them and tell them what to do. It's really weird, but anyways. The funny thing is that I was trying to tell him stuff, trying to help him out, and then he but he just punched me in the gut. It was really weird. It was really strange. It's like, I don't know, it didn't hurt. Like, he really did put his entire heart into it. Like, he really went for a good punch in my gut. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. It's just like, out of all the people to punch me, I didn't expect that my first time being punched in public, I guess, would be some just brawny guy trying to preserve his fragile masculinity. Listen, I know about fragile masculinity. I feel like I have fairly fragile masculinity myself. When I find someone else that is somehow more fragile than me, I just find them more funny. I don't know. But I can tell you this much though, I've had a real good day after that punch. Oh my god. Every single time he would walk by, he started scuttling away, because I would just like smile and like wave at him like, hey, how are you? You know, you just punched me, hi. It's so stupid, it's so funny, it's so weird, because I think he got scared after he punched me, because he's probably known that he's gonna get himself in trouble now, because oh boy howdy was I gonna tell someone about it. Oh yeah, yeah, let me just be quiet and never tell anyone about you punching me at the job. I would probably care less if they punched me outside of the work, because I'd just be like, ah, okay, whatever. To be honest with you, at that point, I probably would shove them back. I don't know, it was a little silly at the time. And I didn't really... When they did punch me, I was more in shock that they punched me versus like, oh my god, oh I'm in pain or something like that. But it was just, I'm still trying to fathom it. It's still so god dang funny. It's so funny. I don't know. I I kind of see what those what is it? Those really annoying TikTokers, you know, that are like trying to be annoying to some people just to get a reaction or something like that. I know. I kind of understand. I kind of understand what they do. I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to go harass people now. Heck no, I'm not gonna do that. That's mean. But I know why they probably do it, just to get that rush, and that's kind of like, go on a roller coaster. I don't think it's gonna be that much different. If you're that bored for stimuli, I think you need to calm down, maybe put the phone down, who knows. Either way around it, my goodness, I can't stop talking about it. It's so funny to me. And it's like, I don't know why, well, I know why people are like, oh my god, he punched you? Like, your worker punched you? Because I've been telling a lot of my online friends too, like, online friends. This is so weird because my brain is like, anyways, I've been talking to a lot of pals. I definitely told Chuya because I felt like Chuya would be funny to talk to. Oh, I really think I should talk to Minna about it because that would be really interesting, really funny, I guess. But I'm trying to talk to people about it because it's really funny. Just the whole like, oh my god, someone punched you. I don't know. It's funny, it's funny. Life moves on. I hope he was happy with the result that he's gonna probably get himself into. Though I will say, it also is kind of partially my fault. I kind of messed around and found out, though, the consequence of finding out wasn't as horrible as you would think. No, some people do be the way that they are. Oh, I might make a double recipe here. If I have enough starter. Oh, yeah, I got plenty, it's fine. Not sure how often I actually even have mentioned it, just thinking about my starter for a moment. Have I ever mentioned that I actually named it? Like, I know I was talking about the whole ordeal of like, oh yeah, naming sourdough starter and such is kind of funny. But I'm pretty sure I've talked about it a few times, but my sourdough starter is named Wheatley because it's a funny pun of wheat flour, Wheatley. I just thought of space at the time, so it kind of makes sense now. Okay. Strange thing to ask, but has anyone else been punched? Has anyone else had an experience being punched at the workplace? Like, at your job, have you ever just been, like, punched by someone? I don't know, knowing myself, just how I think, I guess? I don't know, I kind of expected people to get punched more often and such, you know? I thought that's like a more common thing, especially in like the workplace I work at. Well, not the workplace, but the job that I work and such, you know? People get heated in a kitchen very, very easily. You say the smallest thing, and I'm not to be excluded from this, you know? Sometimes someone will say like, oh hey, you smell, or like you're dumb, or something like that, and then it's like, oh Jesus, Jiminy Criminy Crickets, oh geez, it's like the end of the world's happening, blah 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 blah. But either way around it, sometimes those really heated scenarios can turn into, can get physical. I've never gotten physical, so I'm happy to say I'm not part of that band. But I know, like, I would, or at least I would think that it's fairly common in the workplace to get, not the workplace, but the workplace in the kitchen probably would get a bit heated. I don't know. I I just work there. What the dog doing? Surely the question that we all must ask. No? What is the dog? How you doing, Douglas? I gotta figure out how I can make Douglas talk. Speak, Douglas. Yeah, he's not really wanting to speak. I did get punched once by a customer. Oh, jeez. What happened then? Where did you, like, I don't know, were you able to go, like, catch them and, like, sue them or, like, call your manager on them? It's one thing if you get hit in the workplace, but getting hit by a customer, that's actually assault. Like, that's actually, like, assault. So... Well, actually, it's not different from being in the workplace, but in the workplace, you know, you might understand why they're at least beating you, but a random customer, it's like, yeah, that's kind of scary, actually, you know? It's a lot different versus having a coworker just getting really annoyed with you one day and just, like, punching you. A little bit different. I would think, at least. I'm not sure. Maybe it's similar. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've been punched, so I'm just like, oh, I'm relishing in it almost. Just interesting. I don't know. It's really weird to say it like this, but like, man, I've never been punched before, and it's just like so like, I've never been punched before. No one's ever punched me out of malice, you know? No one's ever really punched me out of malice. I play fighted with like with childhood friends, my sis. Okay, maybe not my sister. That was probably a little malice, but main thing is that I never had a random someone who's not related to me punch me out of just, oh man, I hate you or something like that. This was the first time. It's just it's so interesting for me. $350 times 2, that's 700. 700. I just got my manager. Fair enough. Did your manager I wonder what your manager did. Because, to be honest, for me at least, when I did get punched by the guy, I was like half tempted not just wanting to tell my manager, just because it's gonna make headache for me and my manager. And also, I just genuinely thought that was the funniest thing to ever happen. I don't know, it's just, once more, to reiterate, stuff like that doesn't normally happen to me. From the suburbs. And right now I live in a more metropolitan area. So for something like that to happen is kind of crazy. It's kind of like, wow, that actually did happen. I'm used to name calling and bullying and stuff like that. I'm not really used to people actually getting physical. That's new. That's very different for me. Not used to physicality. I'm used to the mental tormenting, which I'm not sure if I prefer, or I'm not sure which one I prefer now, because like they both have the pros and cons. Yes. Being hit mentally, it's a lot more impactful, though it's easier to hide. Though getting hit, versus physical, it's like, yeah, it hurts for a minute, and then I don't know, they get fired. I guess, I don't know. So I did tell my manager about this, so lo and behold, I don't know, just don't worry about that. Also, it's like, if you're worried about, oh shoot, did I get hurt, or did this person get hurt, because I guess I'm just made of stone, because like, once more, when he punched me, it really did not hurt. It felt like if someone threw a bag at me, like a very full school bag at me, and it's like, hey, I need you to catch this, catch it. It's like, it didn't hurt, it just felt like it was just something tossed at me, you know? He just kicked the person out. Fair enough. Yeah. That's what I imagine is probably something among that idea of just like, oh, it's just nothing crazy is gonna happen, just kick them out. That's how I'm imagining what's gonna probably happen to this guy. It's just like, you know what, just don't do it again, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Honestly, I don't really, once more, I was, saying that I don't really even care about how he punched me, because he didn't really hurt me. It just felt more insulting, if anything, you know? It was a lot more insulting just to, what is it? Well, it just felt more insulting just to get punched than if anything. Like getting hit with like a wet sock. No. It's not really supposed to hurt. It's just more or less to make you just feel bad. Oh, by the way, remember when I talked about lies and deceptions? This is a lie, this is a deception. I'm not making sourdough right now. I mean, I'm not making that country loaf right now. This is actually sourdough. And I also now realize that the screen looks really weird. Wait, has the screen looked like that the entire time? A little darker than usual? I did try and put some filters on. I wanted to try and experiment with that, because I want to actually have all my lights on. It's weird baking in the dark. It makes me feel like I'm like baking in a cave. Very strange. Surreal even. But I might have to fix that real quick. Hold on. Why is it so dark? Huh. Weird. Okay, there we go. That should look a little bit better at least. A little lighter. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm trying to make that look a little bit better. So trying to make the whole camera system looking better, because I actually want to not bake in the dark. The past few streams where I've had my new mic, new camera, I have been baking in the dark because I didn't understand how lighting works. I was very close to buying a new camera, but then I kind of realized with MIP that you can actually put filters on OBS on your cameras. So I experimented with that, so I'm not sure how it looks now. Granted, I hope it looks at least better. Yeah. Hi, Sue. Hello. Sue, I say hello. Welcome in. Okay, well, that's pretty much the first few folds of the sourdough. Or the country loaf, if you will. By the way, why do you have a uwu redeem? Because I'm unoriginal, and I couldn't think of anything funny to add as a redeem. So Bush, Mr. Bush, Mod Bush, actually decided to request an uwu sort of meme. An uwu redeem. So that is not upon me. Well, it is upon me because I'm uncreative and can't think of anything funny. And he gave me an idea with, oh, do an ooh-woo thing, that'd be funny. So, yeah, we have that. Thanks to Mr. Bush. Also, I'm gonna do some really cool, fun, extremely awesome movie magic. Because, yeah, I just finished that bread. But now let's say you followed the recipe to a T, then you would get something that looks a lot like this. Ah, yes! I made s'more bread. I actually made this bread earlier today, so I just wanted to make that so I can at least show something off. Because I don't really think anyone wants to sit around for 8 hours to watch just something magically appear. I mean, waiting for something to slowly rise. So I took the liberties of expediting that issue. Okay. Alright, chat. What kind of scoring design do we want to go for? Do we want to go for a letter, number, symbol, anything? 3 scores, a line. Oh, actually, I got an idea. Zigzags? You know what, Sue? That's really funny, because that was exactly what I was thinking too. I really was just thinking of zigzags. Then I'm gonna add lines for some art. There we go. That should be good enough. I think it's gonna turn out to be a really nice loaf, though. Here we go. Loaf in pan. Down on top. Oy. Into the oven it goes. Let me go get a watch so I can set that timer. I think we should set that for 20 minutes. I think that should be fine. 20 minutes is no problem, no? Or herringbone brick. I've never heard of that. But with my next loaves of bread I make, which are these gonna be these 2 loaves right here, I will be making sure I look that up and I will try to attempt to do that. I have been looking more into recently wanting to do more sourdough art because I do want to, well, not sourdough, but just more bread art. I want to make the bread look visually appealing too, you know? It's one thing to make a very pretty dough. It's one thing to make a dough that tastes good, yeah? That's easy to do, it's not really too hard. But to make it look so visually appealing is something that I kind of want to experiment a bit more with now. Because every single time when I bake bread, I like to do a little experiment here and there. It's like, oh, wait, what if I did this way, or did it that way, or did something like this, and that, and this, and that, that, and this, and so on, and so on, and so on. So I think about that too. However, I kind of do realize you eventually reach a point to where you kind of have a good recipe. Like, I can confidently say that my sourdough recipe is very good. It's, like, very standard, it's very simple, It's easy to do, it's easy to execute, and like I think anyone can really do it. Making a sourdough like this is like brain dead easy. Like you mix the stuff together, and then you don't even need to knead it. You need to just do this like every 5 minutes. Like do folds like this, and that's it. Congratulations, you're now a bread baker. So you can do other things too. Like you don't have to do just flour. Maybe you want to have more nutrition. You want more wheat flavor. Then you add whole wheat flour. Maybe you want to add a little rye, or heck, you can just add oats to it if you want. I don't know. Because I know that's a thing that some people do with sourdoughs. They add like seeds, oats, all that sort of stuff on sourdough and such too, which is something I want to do, but it's like it's really easy to do because like when you put stuff and bread to rest, then you just put flour and then you put your seeds in as well, so that's easy. So you know, it's not hard. It's just a matter of I don't really feel like going to go buy oats just to make bread. So there's that. Though I have been thinking, I do want to see if there's an actual thing called oat bread. Because like how oats are very starchy. So I would think like, okay, is there a way that you can make bread with using oats and water? Making almost something that's almost like a tangzong, like how you would use to make milk bread? And is there something you can do for that and just try and make a nice bread that's very nutritionally dense with oats? Because oats are good for you, they're good for your heart and all that such. So herringbone is bricks with it laid in a zigzag pattern. I've just been letting it proof overnight. Sourdough? You see, that's kind of something that, if anything, that's something I have been experimenting with recently. When it comes to sourdough, it's just fermenting. I know how to get the best flavor possible, but I also want to try and make it as efficient as possible too. So there's been 2 variations on what I've been doing for proofing. The one variation I've done for proofing is making the dough like this. Like this is essentially 2 recipes right here. Making the dough ahead of time, letting it ferment, and then dividing, shaping, and letting it go for a second ferment. And then, well, not a ferment, more of a proofing at that point, because it's not really fermenting, it's just letting it rise. The other thing I've been doing is kind of like that, but not a little less labor intensive, which is just kneading the bread, making sure it's all ready, divide it, then shape it into your bread baskets, and then at that point, then you do it in the bulk ferment. Then you take it out, let it come up to room temperature, and then bake it. That is easier, but it's also slower, because when you take stuff outside to ferment, outside to proof and rise, it takes longer. So I've been trying to do the previous stated of just dividing it and then baking off that way, because it has a bit more speed to it. So it doesn't really matter either way around it though, I think. It's like very preference oriented, so I just prefer not doing the latter. I just don't really like to have my cloth sitting in a refrigerator. I feel like it can mold quicker. I haven't lost any of my bread baskets to mold yet. Knock on wood. So, but still, I want to try and mitigate that. I want to mitigate the possibility of mold, because then I have to go buy more, and I gotta go buy new ones, and I don't feel like buying new bread baskets, you know? Could you put raspberries in sourdough? I don't see why not, honestly. We were just talking about this a few moments ago, but, we were talking about, like, how you could really add anything to sourdough. Like, one of my favorite kind of sourdoughs that I've made is making a tomato sourdough, which is where I get, like, marinara that I've made, like fresh made marinara, and I want to get rid of it, so then I put that into my sourdough recipe, take away some of the water, because too much water is gonna make it too wet. So I put some tomato sauce in it, and then I knead it together, and it's like very nice and like flavorful, very tomatoey, very garlicky, herbaceous, and all those fun words to say. And has a nice, beautiful orange-red tint to it when you cut it open. It's really good. I've made a pumpkin sourdough. Those are kind of interesting. It's not like it's tasted bad, but I just don't like the flavor of pumpkin. Like pure pumpkin. I don't really like the flavor of it too much. So I was just kind of off-putted by it. Other people that did like pumpkin said it was great. They loved it. So good on them. But just if anything that I have made, I would say if you do a walnut sourdough, make sure that your nuts are toasted, because if you use raw walnuts, you'll actually make the bread purple. I'm not sure the science behind it, but there is some sort of chemical reaction that happens to when you put raw, untoasted walnuts into sourdough or bread, really. It makes your dough purple. Not bad, it doesn't change the flavor too much, but it's really unappealing to look at purple in your bread because it looks chemically added or something like that. But that is something you could do too. Yeah. So I don't see why you couldn't put raspberries in it. Maybe get like a nice raspberry jam, take some of the water out, or like depending on how much you want, how much flavor, how intense you want it to be. It all really depends on like how much raspberry do you want to put into it. And are you going to put raspberry jam? Are you going to put fresh raspberries whole? Are you going to get fresh raspberries and then like mince them up, like smash them together? Like, are you going to do stuff like that? There's a whole bunch of things that has to be taken into consideration, you know? So anyways, remember when I said that we're also going to be doing other things other than just baking today? I saw stuff on sale, and I need to get rid of some fries that I have. I have some tallow confit fries that I've frozen, and they've been nicely crystallized. And I want to get rid of it because I want more freezer space. They hold a lot of freezer space. So I wanted to do something that's kind of a classic thing to eat, which is something simply as steak frites. I got this really, really nice, is it sirloin or New York? I don't know. Yeah, okay, I got this really nice strip steak. Like, it's fairly thick, actually. It's like probably an inch thick. Like, it's pretty good. And the marbling's good, there's no bone, it's pretty hefty. And it's like, maybe 7 pounds? 7 ounces? 7 pounds, oh jeez. If this was 7 pounds, ooh. That'd be a steal, but it was $15. And it's like, you know what? Why not? So, I decided, you know what? And also, another thing is, I just haven't had steak in a while. And once more, when I said about what happened the previous day, the ladder, I kind of felt like, you know what? I want to treat myself. I want to make sure I feel good today. I want to feel good. I want to make sure I'm happy. I want to make sure that even though that whippy punch didn't really affect me physically, I want to make sure I'm good mentally. It just felt so insulting. So I just want to cook a steak. And I guess I could tell you this about how I cook steak, because I don't know, I don't really take the traditional way, well, not traditional, but like the at-home way of cooking a steak. Like, as you can see already, is that I'm patting down the steak dry, because when you sear a steak, you want to make sure that it's nice and dry, because any sort of liquid will actually hinder the look and color of a steak. So you want to make sure that if you want to get a good color, a good sear, all this funny stuff to say, you want to make sure that it's patted down dry. So there's that. Now here's another thing though, because when you get a good steak, there's two things you should do. In my head, I think, at least. One, at least maybe a few hours before you cook your steak, you season it. Right now. Like, I'm actually not gonna cook the steak for another, probably, I don't know, maybe a good 4 hours. But there is reasoning to this. I'm doing this because it makes a sort of like dry brine, a dry cure. It's almost like seasoning it. Well, it's essentially I'm seasoning it, but making sure that the salt goes all the way through the entirety of the meat, so it's actually more flavorful within each slice. Like, you ever just cook yourself a nice steak and it looks really great, it tastes amazing, this and this and that, but you have to add a little bit more of something because it just needs like a little bit more salt. So this helps mitigate that. So, now I don't exactly need to add the pepper because the pepper doesn't really go that deep in comparison to salt. But I don't care. I like the I like to think that it can. The placebo is nice. So, and let's see. There's something else I'd like to add. Let's see if I have it. Because there is another thing I like to add to my steak, or seasoning for steak, and that is just a bit of garlic powder. I think it's garlic. Yeah, it's garlic powder. A bit of garlic powder. So this is kind of just gonna. This is already just gonna start like flavoring. It's almost like doing a dry marinade if you really think about it. I'm making sure that I just really get the flavors imbued into the steak before I cook it off later today. And I also gotta make sure that I season the other side as well. Now, I think there's also something else to be observed, other than that little area. That was my fault, but excluding that little patch of salt I just added there, one might think that, oh geez, that's a lot of salt. That's a lot of salt for one little steak. And I would say you would be correct. That is until I say that it's beef. I'm not sure if anyone else kind of realizes or knows of this, but when you actually, if you ever really cook with beef, you'll notice that it needs a bit more salt versus like cooking chicken, for instance. It needs a bit more salt than something like that. I'm not exactly sure to why that is, but I do know that usually beef can handle a lot more salt without having that flavor being too salty. So, now here's another thing that I like to do with steak, and this is I think this is fairly commonly practiced. I'm going to leave this out. No, I'm actually gonna put it in my refrigerator for 2 hours, but then when it's over that time and like I'm gonna cook it in like an hour or two, I'm gonna take it out. So I'm gonna throw this into my refrigerator. And yeah, I'm not sure how many people actually do think about that though. Like, do people actually think about taking their meat and stuff out and like letting it come to room temp? There is actually some beneficial nature to that, for cooking steak specifically. When you take your steak out, or taking something that needs a rest and like you want to cook it medium, like so like let's say talk about duck, fish, beef, or lamb. If you let your meat come out at room temperature, it's gonna have a more even cook on the entire thing. So it's gonna look more visually appealing, it's gonna have a better cook, and actually it will cook faster too. Granted, the speed of its cooking is gonna be like, you're shaving off a single minute. You're just a single minute. You're really just shaving off 1 minute. But if you want to shave off that extra minute by just letting your stuff come up to room temperature, more than welcome to. it just can't be longer than an hour, because at that point you are risking the possibility of foodborne illness. So usually people do 30 minutes. When I'm at home and I'm cooking for myself and I don't really care, I don't really care about foodborne illness because I know I can control it a lot more easily, I'm going to usually go an hour to make sure that it's going to be absolutely for sure room temp. But yeah, that's me. And also I would cook for my pals like this too. I tell them all this stuff too, like, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm gonna pull this out an hour ahead. Like, you're gonna be safe and fine and stuff like that, but are you alright with that? Because some people are really, really like, oh, I want to make sure it's cold right out of the refrigerator, and that's all fine and such. So I always like to make sure with even pals, like, hey, this is how I do it. I want to make sure it's fine with you, so there's that. Alright, one last fold with our bread here, our sour bread. And I think we'll be good to... What is it? I think we'll be good to, check on the bread. Our country loaf. Our country sourdough loaf. Remember, this is actually a country loaf. Wink, wink, alright? Wink, wink. This is a country sourdough loaf. This is a country loaf, not sourdough. Keep that in mind. I'm just showing you the process to get to the point of making it. I did some TV movie magic to where the inside is not the inside. Oh shoot, I'm so stupid. Oh man, I wish I was better at talking. This is movie magic. We're doing the TV movie magic on like Michelle or like I don't really know, the reality shows or something like that, where it's like, okay, so this is how you do this and that. Now get rid of that because I already made it for you. It's like that we're doing, you know? Because I already made it for you. It's kind of straightforward. I don't really know why I need to explain it, but TV show magic. TV show magic. Alright, my timer's going off, so let's see. Does it need more time or does it need less? Oh, that's perfect, actually. Alright. And just like that, we have a beautiful looking country loaf right there. It's actually really pretty, though. Ooh, oh boy. That. Here, let me get my thing here. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful loaf right there. Now the bottom though. Oh, the bottom is actually not dark. It's actually kind of nice. Ooh, this thing's pretty nice though. Ooh, very pretty. What is it? Country get white flour? I mean, country bread can be used with can just be made with white flour. A country loaf is more or less specifying, like it's just a basic, simple, rustica kind of style of bread, you know? It's more of a style. It's like, essentially a country loaf is just sourdough without sour starter. It's made with a homemade poolish or something like that. So, this is basically a knockoff sourdough, but despite that, I think that's a very, very lovely bread. And, hi Sai, hello, welcome in. It's very, very nice. It's like, ooh, wait, hold on. Oh, that's so crunchy! Oh, it's like Ratatouille. You know, like in Ratatouille, when the girl crushes the baguette, and you hear that beautiful crunch and crusty sound. I'm not sure if you're able to hear it, but you can hear how crisp how crunchy, how amazingly, perfectly glassy crisp the outside is, and that's so good. Here, wait, let me see if I can try and do it again. I'm not sure if you can even hear it really, but it's a beautiful sound. I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to ruin the outside structure of it, but that's a beautiful bread. Easy, quick, and simple. And if anything, if you're wanting to make a bread and you don't want to make a sourdough, because sourdough does admittedly take a lot of time, this is your next best bet. It won't taste like sourdough unless you are a psychopath and you want to be like the stores that add citric acid to it. You're more than welcome to do that. You're going to be judged to heck and back. It's wrong if you do sourdough like that, but this is a good country loaf. That's really nice. The mic is doing awesomely. Good. All right. That's a good country loaf. That was easy to make too. Like this was honestly a last minute thing, to be 100% with you. I made this on a whim. I kind of forgot about it. I was gonna get up earlier today. Like I was gonna get up at like 7. I got up at 7, but then I forgot about the bread because I had to go shopping and this and that. So I actually made this at 10. Like I mixed the dough, got it all ready at 10. So it's only been resting for around 2 hours, and next thing you know it, we got this beautiful, lovely bread right here. So, hey, this doesn't take long to make. And above all else, it takes minimal effort. It is easy to do. It is quick, simple to do. And you don't have to do any kneading. You don't have to do any shaping even. I didn't shape it at all. So, what I'm trying to more or less say to anyone who is watching, and who is anyone who might be interested in baking, make your own bread. Good for you. And also, I feel like it's just very gratifying to do too. It's easy as well. It's not hard, it's easy, you get a good product, you feel good about yourself because you make a lovely, beautiful loaf of bread here. This is one to make people cry. Actually, you're not going to be able to hear this. You would not be able to hear this. The microphone is unable to pick it up. I doubt it would. But there are some times you make a bread so crisp, so perfectly cooked and proofed and risen and all that stuff, that you can actually hear it crackling as it's cooling down. Right now, it's crackling like popcorn. It's great. It's satisfying. It's so good. So yeah. Woo. Gotta put these away though, because I'm not really baking right now. You know, something I do want to invest in though, something I would love to invest in. Have you ever seen on like the Amazons to where there's like a baking vessel specifically for baguettes? My oven and most commercial ovens are not able to emanate how you can make a nice artisan quality French baguette. However, if you get a way to getting a baking vessel that's big enough for a baguette to sit in and steam in on itself, you'll get a beautiful looking loaf like this. Because the thing about this loaf right here is that this is 100% a steamed bread. When you put stuff in a baking vessel, like an enclosed baking vessel like I was using, the steam permeates within the baking vessel, it cooks the bread more quickly, it accelerates the crust, color, and crispness of it too, and helps a little bit with rise as well. So steaming is very beneficial to like your bread, as more color and not flavor, just more color, and the Maillard reaction happens a lot more quickly. So, really good to steam bread in an enclosed container. My commercial oven isn't going to be my at-home oven isn't going to really work that well because there's holes or divots and it's not like airtight or whatever. So, it's good though, it works. So. But when you do something in an airtight container, or like not airtight, but like a cast iron container like what I use, you'll get a really nice product with it. And also, just to mention, let's say you don't have a cast iron like mine, or maybe a cast iron is too heavy. I find that a casserole dish, as long as it's deep enough, works just as well. So, I don't want to hear any excuses. Oh, I can't make a bread because I don't want to use a cast iron because it's dangerous, and use a nice, good, high temperature proof cast iron. Oh, I don't want to put too much effort into making bread. This bread took me 2 hours to make. There is no excuse. So, yeah, no excuses, lads. No excuses. I kind of actually want to make a challenge for you all, and I'd be willing to do this. But if you guys can actually make a loaf of bread, I'll give you guys a good recipe too. Like, I'll give you guys a recipe that I don't make, just someone else will make. Like, King Arthur. King Arthur has some pretty good recipes, let me tell you. They have some really solid recipes, so if that. But I do want to do like a fun contest one day. Maybe like, hey, bread boys, if you can bake a good loaf of bread, I'll give you money for it. I really want to encourage people more to bake bread. That's one of my like biggest goals as a VTuber and such. My biggest thing is that I just want to encourage more people to bake more bread. It's easy. It's really, really easy. You just gotta get the simple how-tos. That's really it. So, but like, bread down. Ooh, that sounds kind of fun. I guess. Sigh. Yeah, bread bounties. Like, oh hey, if you make a good loaf of bread, and I like it, I'll PayPal you $5 or something like that, you know? I kind of do want to do something like that, you know? Or I'll give you $5 on Steam, or $5 on Epic Stores. You probably won't be able to buy a skin, but you'll get $5 for baking a loaf of bread, and you get to eat it. So, hey, it's a win-win. You get good bread, and you get bread. Gotta get that dough. But yeah, that's the loaf of bread. I'm not sure what to do at this point. Like, oh, ASMR. Do you hear the ASMR crackly crust of it? I don't know. That might be expensive. You have viewers who bake regularly. As much as I don't want to rat, I will say, I don't think that's 100% true. Like, I believe I follow someone who watches me that bakes on a regular. I can't remember his name, but he's like a cow VTuber or something like that. Like, starts with an S, Salve or something like that. He bakes. I don't know, I don't actually really know who else really bakes in my community. I wanna know, because then I wanna just see. I like it when people bake, I like seeing other people's breads. I like when people bake, it's fun. It's like, oh yeah, they're playing my favorite video game. Oh yeah, they're doing my favorite thing. I love it when people make bread, so there's that. But you know another thing I need to start doing? Just thinking about it right now. I really, 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 really need to start making gluten-free bread. No reason. Well, there is a reason. Just because it's just fun, I guess. But I do need to learn how to make gluten-free bread too. But future. I do 1 or 2 loaves a week. Oh, that's cool. Didn't know that. Impressive. But you gotta get those numbers up. I'm doing at least 15 on a week. At my own whim too. Nah, you're fine. That's good though. Nice. It's good to know. I like to hear that. I like to hear that people bake bread. It's like, yes, that's good. Bake more bread. Bake more bread. Good for you. Nice to have other hobbies, you know? I can only eat it so fast, so And I want to eat other foods too. That is fair. That is 100% fair. I 100% understand that notion as well. Though I will also say that bread freezes very nicely. Bread freezes very good. So, you could freeze your bread too. You could. So, take your pick, do what you want. This is just a rambling of some crazy 20-year-old man wanting to let people know that you should bake your own bread. Baking your own bread is not only better, more nutritious, and actually cheaper, healthier, but just it's also fun. It's easy. It's like, oh wow, bread. This is gonna be great for sandwiches. So, is baking in a rice cooker a sin? Honestly, that's impressive. But I'm disgusted. And you should feel bad. Because you are bad. Anyways. I don't think there's much else to be said. I'm very impressed with this loaf though. It is a very nice looking loaf. Still cooling down, so I can't exactly cut it open just yet, but I will let you know that I will be cutting into this loaf later, and I'll post it on Twitter, YouTube, etc. I'll post it on the medias, as you know, so I'll be posting it then. But as of now, I think we might finish up in the kitchen at least, you know? Baking your own bread can spoil you though. Last weekend I tried a store-bought pizza crust and it was not nearly as good as homemade. That is 100% true. I also empathize with that because at that point I'm so spoiled to where it's like, man, I don't want to go buy my own bread at this point. Like, there's times where it's like, okay, Salty, I need breadcrumbs. I don't feel like getting breadcrumbs because I know I can make breadcrumbs. So then I had to go through the whole semantics of, okay, I gotta go bake a loaf of bread, and I gotta wait 2 days for it to stale. And then from there, I got to actually make it in a breadcrumb. And that's like a 3-day process almost, maybe 2. 1 if I really want to rush it. But like, yeah, like, I'm not even talking about bread too. That was just like an ingredient that is made of bread. But like, let's say I want to make a donut, what is it? Let's say I want to make not a donut, but a bun, like a hot dog bun. I will be so upset if I try and go outside and go buy a hot dog roll. So I have to make them myself. Granted, they're always going to be so much better, but it's just like, man, I just want a hot dog roll for 1 hot dog. I don't need to go through these jumps and semantics for it. Yet I pushed myself to do it because I like to have a high standard for myself, I guess. No real explanation. Okay. Well, I think we're going to finish up here for now. Hold on. I'm actually gonna take this opportunity to take a picture. Actually, let me see the RVR view real quick. Hold on, give me a sec. Okay, here we go. And we are back. Hi guys, back. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think we're actually gonna probably end up the rest of the day. I think I've given off my grace when it comes to like the niceness of bread, sourdough bread, and country loaf. If you ever don't feel like having, when you ever don't feel like having the ability to make sourdough, I should actually let you know that you should make yourself a nice country loaf at least. Sourdough, I can understand. Maybe you don't like sourdough, maybe you don't like the flavor, the tartness, etc. But I would recommend that if you do want to try a good loaf of bread that's very, very standard, make a country loaf. Very easy, very simple, and very tasty too. So I just can't show you the taste or tell you about it right now because it's, well, it's still cooling off. I don't want to ruin it right now. So we're gonna go raid someone. Oh hey, they're live. Let's go raid them. Dollops. Alright. People on the Twitch side, we are going to be going raid. We are going to be going to go raid Miss Dollops. Okay. Alright. Thank you all for tuning in today. I will see you all around tomorrow. We are going to be doing some gaming. We're going to be playing some video game. So tune in for that next time. Okay, well, you guys have a good rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, and Suase, you have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Suase. Thank you, Mauler. Thank you, Eldritch, Salmon, Sai, and Sonic. Oh, and hi, Juwan. Hello. Thank you for tuning in to hi. You know it's at the end, but I'll see you around. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Alola. Sayonara. Alright, that's it. I'm gone. Bye bye. Otsu Kichee. And ciao. Bye bye.